A doorway to mystery. Among the Bible's closing books lies a passage whose vivid imagery has sparked discussion for centuries. In Revelation 9, we read of a fallen star that is given the keys to a bottomless shaft. When the shaft is opened, black smoke pours out like from a gigantic furnace, and from that smoke emerge locust-like creatures. They are not the crop-devouring insects we know. These beings wear crowns on their heads. They have human faces, long hair, lion's teeth, iron breastplates, and tails like scorpions. At their head stands a figure named in Hebrew Abaddon and in Greek Apollyon, names that translate as destruction and destroyer. Who or what is this angel of the abyss? Is it a demonic entity unleashed to punish humanity? Or perhaps a guardian whose task is to oversee gates between worlds? Such questions have occupied scholars, mystics, and lovers of the unknown. The aim of this script is to dive into that account, to compare it with similar figures from other cultures and mythologies, and finally to speculate on what it might mean in a contemporary context where the boundaries between science and myth blur. This journey does not intend to provide final answers, but to open paths of reflection and pose unsettling questions. What if John's vision on Patmos was not purely symbolic? What if it recalled ancient events or anticipated realities still to be revealed? 1. The biblical passage, Revelation 9, in detail. Before we look at other cultures' myths, it is worth revisiting the source text. In the narrative of Revelation, trumpets herald stages of final judgment. The fifth trumpet introduces something unique, a star fallen from heaven to earth. It receives the key to the shaft of the abyss. We are not told whether this is a fallen angel. Some commentators suggest Lucifer, or a celestial messenger, or simply a star used as a literary figure for a powerful being. The shaft of the abyss. When it is opened, thick smoke rises and darkens the sky. In biblical thought, the abyss is linked with Sheol or Hades, the realm of the dead, and with the Hebrew term Abaddon, an unfathomable depth associated with destruction. Here the shaft functions like a prison or storehouse for supernatural beings. Hybrid locusts. They emerge from the smoke and are described as warlike creatures. They are forbidden to harm vegetation and instead attack those humans lacking the divine seal. Their appearance is a mix of elements: human faces, long hair, lion's teeth, bodies armored for battle, and scorpion-like tails. They do not kill people but torment them for 5 months, a king over the locusts. These creatures are said explicitly to have a leader, the angel of the abyss. His Hebrew name is Abaddon, and in Greek Apollyon, both connected to destruction. In Judaism, this figure is not equated with Satan. He is an agent of divine judgment rather than of chaos. The text leaves interpretation open. Are these locusts symbolic armies, representations of an invading empire, visions of war machines, or literal beings? Is Abaddon a faithful angel carrying out a punishment or a malevolent entity released to sow terror? The ambiguity of Revelation has generated multiple readings. 1.1 Traditional Christian interpretations. For centuries, theologians have debated this episode's nature. Some of the more common interpretations include allegory of a human army. Certain commentators of late antiquity and the Reformation suggested the locusts represent invading forces, Parthians, Saracens, or other enemies, whose cavalry and weaponry were unfamiliar to the Roman Empire. The golden crowns symbolized victory. The scorpion-like tails alluded to cavalry shooting arrows backward. Spiritual symbolism. Other interpreters see the locusts as personifications of demonic spirits, tormenting the souls of the impious. The 5-month torment has been linked to specific periods of tribulation. Abaddon would be a title for an executioner angel rather than a necessarily evil being. Futuristic literalism. In modern streams, especially certain evangelical circles, the passage is taken literally. They imagine that in the near future a portal will open and tangible creatures, demons, genetically engineered hybrids, or extraterrestrial invaders, will emerge. Discrepancies arise because Revelation employs imagery saturated with apocalyptic symbols: locusts, trumpets, abysmal pits, fallen stars. Such language invites speculation and connections with myths sharing similar motifs. 2. Comparing hybrid creatures of antiquity. To understand why Revelation 9 resonates across cultures, we can look at other traditions where hybrid beings, guardians, destroyers, or transmitters of forbidden knowledge, appear. Across civilizations from Mesopotamia to India, Greece, and Persia, a pattern recurs. beings combining animal and human traits acting as messengers, monsters, or border keepers between worlds. These comparisons are not meant to equate doctrines, but to show the motif's universality. 2.1 The Mesopotamian Apkallu, sages, protectors, and rebels. In Sumerian and Babylonian myth, the Apkallu, or Abgal, were 7 wise spirits fashioned by the god Enki-Ea and sent from the Apsu, the watery abode of Enki. They are described as hybrids, sometimes human figures clad in fish skins, sometimes winged. Their primary role was to impart civilizing knowledge, agriculture, temple building, writing, astronomy, and ritual. They were guardians of divine order and protectors of kings. On Assyrian reliefs, Apkallu flanked doorways and pillars, performing ritual acts to ward off evil. However, tradition also recounts that some Apkallu became corrupt and taught forbidden arts to humanity, provoking divine wrath. In some versions, the rebellious Apkallu were punished. It is said they were confined to the underworld, much like the Watchers in the Book of Enoch. This transformation from sages to demons echoes the Angel of the Abyss, a being associated with secret knowledge who at some point may unleash it. 2.2 The Watchers in the Book of Enoch. Although not part of the Jewish or Christian biblical canon, Word Enoch strongly shaped apocalyptic imagination. In its section called the Book of the Watchers, we hear of Grigori, watchers, angels who observed humanity. Led by Semyaza, they descended to Mount Hermon and mated with women. Their offspring were giants, Nephilim, said to be enormous, devouring men and beasts. Beyond perverting nature, the Watchers taught humans arts considered taboo: metalwork, magic, astrology, and cosmetics. Their transgression unleashed cosmic punishment. According to Enoch, God sent archangels to subdue the giants and bind the Watchers. Michael was instructed to bind Semyaza and his companions and imprison them for 70 generations under the mountains until Judgment Day. The description of semi-divine beings who teach forbidden arts, beget hybrids, and are cast into the abyss seems a direct precedent for Revelation's image: a shaft containing dangerous entities and an angel serving as jailer or executioner. 2.3 The Chimera and Other Hybrids in Greek Myth. Greek mythology teems with composite creatures whose existence embodies disruption of natural order. Among them, the chimera stands out, a hybrid described as having a goat's body, a serpent's or dragon's tail, and a lion's head. Some versions give it 3 heads: lion, goat, and dragon. Others add a 4th and wings. The chimera breathed fire and sowed chaos until Bellerophon, aided by Pegasus, slew it. Alongside it are other hybrid beings: centaurs, man and horse; the minotaur, human with a bull's head; the sphinx, lion's body, eagle's wings, human face; the multi-headed hydra; and the gorgons with snake hair and petrifying gaze. Such monsters represent chaos and deviation from ordered nature. In many myths, mixing animal and human is a transgression that must be contained, usually by a hero. The monster violates boundaries and threatens civilization. Its defeat restores order. The theme of a hybrid that spews fire or poison connects with Revelation 9. The locusts are equipped with crowns and weapons. Their bodies sound like chariots in battle, and their torment is compared to that of scorpions. Like the chimera, they are warlike amalgams that bring pain. The manticore, devourer of men, originating in Persian folklore and absorbed into Greek and medieval imagination. The manticore, from Persian martiora, man-eater, is a hybrid creature with a lion's body, human head, and scorpion tail. The Greek historian Ctesias, writing in the 5th century BCE, described it as having 3 rows of teeth, human-like face and ears, blue eyes, reddish hide, a leonine body, and a tail armed with venomous stingers that could shoot darts. Its voice combined the sounds of flute and trumpet. It was feared for its speed and veracity, leaving no remains of its prey. Later authors added dragon wings and camouflage abilities to lure victims. The manticore is culturally akin to the apocalyptic locusts, hybrid, venomous, man-eating, and driven by destructive instinct. The association of a scorpion with its tail matches the torment inflicted by the locusts. Moreover, the Persian name man-eater suggests these entities do not content themselves with physical damage but seek total destruction. 2.5 Demons and hybrid avatars in Hindu myth. In Indian traditions, divine and demonic beings often mix human and animal traits. Relevant figures include Narasimha, In Vaishnavism, Narasimha is Vishnu's fourth incarnation, half man and half lion. He takes this form to protect his devotee Prahlada and slay the demon Hiranyakashipu. Narasimha symbolizes the destruction of evil and the duality of existence. He is not a demon but a divine avatar who embodies ferocity and compassion simultaneously. His hybrid form breaks the categories of man and beast, enabling him to circumvent a prophecy the demon had set to avoid death. Rakshasas. In Hinduism and Buddhism, Rakshasas are malevolent spirits that disturb sacrifices, desecrate graves, and harass priests. They are known for their poisonous claws, appetite for human flesh and decayed food. They can change shape, appearing as humans or giant birds. Many Rakshasas were wicked men reincarnated. Some, like Ravana in the Ramayana, have multiple heads and play complex roles. Their ability to shapeshift and taste for human flesh link them to the apocalyptic locusts that torment without killing. Asuras and other hybrids. Vedic and Puranic literature mentions Asuras, ancient gods turned demons, Daityas and Danavas. Some have many bodies or animal combinations. Specific creatures like Makara, aquatic monster with crocodile body and fishtail, Garuda, human-like eagle, Kirtimukha, voracious face without a body, and Ahi, cosmic serpent, symbolize natural powers or internal states. These stories emphasize balance between chaos and order. Narasimha, though violent, restores dharma. Rakshasas are necessary antagonists to reveal heroes' virtues. This duality echoes Abaddon. Is he an evil destroyer or an executor of divine justice? 2.6. Hybrid creatures in Mesoamerica and other cultures. In Mesoamerican worldviews, animal-human combinations recur. Quetzalcoatl, for example, is a feathered serpent uniting an earthly reptile with a celestial bird, symbolizing the union of underworld and heaven. Camazotz in Maya mythology is a being with human body and bat head inhabiting the caves of the underworld. The Nahuales of Aztec and Mexica traditions tell of sorcerers able to transform into animals to move between worlds. Spirits like Tuncaluchis guard cave entrances, which in Mesoamerican cosmology are portals to other layers of reality. Although these figures are not mentioned in Revelation, they share significant patterns. Hybridization symbolizing contact between realms, sky-earth, human-animal, life-death, roles as guardians or destroyers, and association with portals, caves, cenotes, netherworlds. Relating these legends to Revelation 9 invites us to ask whether the abyssal shaft might be analogous to a cosmic cenote, a place of transit where hybrid beings temporarily cross into our world. Pre-modern theories, genetic experiments, dimensions, and memetics. Beyond ancient traditions, contemporary imagination interprets apocalyptic texts and myths through new lenses. As science advances, stories of hybrid creatures and fallen angels merge with hypotheses about genetic manipulation, lost civilizations, and alternate realities. Below are some of these theories, not to assert their truth but to understand why they attract the modern mind. 3.1 Genetic engineering and chimeras. In today's biology, chimera refers to organisms that possess cells from different genomes. There are natural chimeras, like ligers, lion-tigress hybrids, or zonkies, zebra-donkey hybrids, and laboratory chimeras, where cells from different species are combined to study disease or develop transplant organs. CRISPR-Cas9 technology allows gene editing with unprecedented precision, generating organisms whose genetic code mixes species. Since the 1970s, scientists have created hybrids such as mice with human genes to research immunity. More recently, chimeric monkey pig embryos have been developed, sparking ethical debates about how far we should alter nature. In popular imagination, these advances translate into fears of monsters created in secret labs. The Revelation narrative, with its humanized locusts, seems to some prophetic of experiments that will go awry. Proponents of ancient astronaut theories add another layer. They suggest beings from other worlds came in the past and manipulated Earth's DNA to create humans or generate hybrid creatures like the Nephilim. In this framework, the Watchers of Enoch were extraterrestrial scientists who taught metallurgy and astronomy. The divine punishment was actually a technological disaster that forced these experiments to be sealed in an abyss that can only be opened with advanced technology. Is the Angel of the Abyss a watcher guarding an interdimensional laboratory? 3.2. Lost civilizations and forgotten technologies. Another line of speculation posits advanced civilizations existing before recorded history that possessed superior scientific knowledge. Popularized by writers like Graham Hancock and Zecharia Sitchin, this idea holds that monuments such as Egypt's pyramids or Mesoamerican temples are remnants of cultures with access to energy and cosmological technologies. In this context, the gods who taught humanity might have been members of a human or non-human civilization that perished in a global cataclysm. The story of the Apkallu, who teach knowledge and then are punished, can be read as the distorted memory of pre-flood teachers condemned when their genetic experiments or weapons threatened the world's balance. The apocalyptic locusts could be machines or creatures accidentally released during a collapse. Modern science fiction echoes this archetype. In the Alien series, the xenomorphs, creatures combining traits of different species, are products of an ancient civilization. The engineers manipulate biology to create monsters that get out of control. 3.3. Interdimensional portals and modern physics. Another speculative strand centers on the abyss as a portal. Theoretical physics has explored the possibility of wormholes, shortcuts through space-time connecting distant regions of the universe, or even different universes within string theory. If they exist, they would require extreme conditions, such as matter with negative energy, to stay open. The abyssal shaft in Revelation could be seen as a wormhole linking our cosmos to another plane. Legends of gates to other worlds are not exclusive to the Bible. In Norse mythology, the tree Yggdrasil connects 9 worlds and serves as the axis of reality. In Mesoamerica, caves and cenotes are portals to the underworld. In Andean cosmology, Lake Titicaca is a door through which the first Incas emerged. What if some of these portals were real and had been sealed? The Angel of the Abyss would then be a guardian, tasked with watching an interdimensional gate. Modern science proposes theories like the multiverse or brain worlds, suggesting parallel dimensions. Research into dark matter and dark energy indicates that most of the universe comprises something we cannot see or directly measure. Perhaps the abyss of Revelation is not a physical pit under the earth, but a domain in the cosmic fabric where entities dwell that we barely understand. 3.4. Memetics and the human imagination. A more psychological perspective focuses on memetics, the idea that myths are like cultural genes that replicate, mutate, and adapt to context. Hybrid creatures and bottomless pits may be universal symbols reflecting human fascination and fear of the unknown. The fact that disparate cultures imagine beings half human, half animal, could stem from shared archetypal patterns. Fear of losing humanity, transgressing limits, mixing sacred and profane. From this view, the apocalyptic locusts, rebellious Apkallu and Raksasas represent the same mental structure adapted to different contexts. Yet memetics does not rule out real phenomena, a physical abyss, a portal, a cataclysm. Rather, it suggests that the human mind recycles extreme experiences and turns them into enduring, evolving myths. John's visions on Patmos may have been dreams laden with archetypes or mystical experiences that reinterpret ancient or future events. A reflection: what lies behind the Angel of the Abyss? After reviewing the biblical text, mythological parallels, and contemporary theories, it's time to venture some reflections. We do not aim to offer a definitive answer, but to organize the questions that arise. 4.1. Pattern of transgression and punishment. Across the tradition studied, a pattern emerges. Superior or hybrid beings transmit knowledge or challenge order. The Apkallu teach civilization. The Watchers instruct forbidden arts. The locusts of Revelation emerge to torment with seemingly artificial methods, breaking natural boundaries. Mixing species, chimera, manticore, shape-shifting Raksasas, or unions between angels and humans, Watchers, constitutes a rupture of established order. Punishment or defeat. A hero or deity intervenes. Bellerophon kills the chimera. Archangels bind the Watchers. The flood purges giants and rebellious humanity. In Revelation, God's punishment comes via trumpets and bowls. Imprisonment in the abyss. Dangerous beings are locked in caves, hells, or pits. The abyss is both prison and portal. This pattern can be read as a warning. Acquiring knowledge without wisdom brings chaos and destruction. Applied to today, it calls for responsibility. Genetic engineering, artificial intelligence, and particle physics bring us close to abilities once attributed to gods or angels. History warns of the dangers of playing with forces we do not fully understand. Guardian or executioner? The angel of the abyss called Abaddon or Apollyon, is he a demon or a divine agent? In Judaism, Abaddon is primarily the place of destruction rather than a person. In Revelation, however, he appears as the king of the locusts. Some Christian traditions identify him with a fallen angel. Others see him as an angel administering divine punishment. The fact that his name means destroyer does not necessarily imply evil. It could be a functional title like that of an executioner carrying out a sentence without personal malice. Comparing with the Watchers of Enoch, even angels who fail are punished and chained. Perhaps we should imagine Abaddon as a watcher who remains faithful to his task. He guards the gate until God decides to open it for a specific judgment. Thus he is both guardian and executioner, a mix of mercy and severity. 4.3. The temptation of contact with other worlds. The idea of a pit connecting to other planes is tempting. Many traditions, from Enoch's ascension and Isaiah's visions to shamanic journeys into the underworld, describe encounters with beings not of our world. Is John's vision an astral journey or an entry into another universe? If our ancestors perceived a portal, physical or metaphorical, their description in terms of smoke and locusts may be their way of communicating something so strange that only symbols could convey it. Perhaps the smoke represents radiation, and the locusts are craft or drones. Or perhaps they are interdimensional beings whose bodies defy our categories, hence their hybrid appearance. Theories of parallel universes suggest worlds where physics differs. In a universe with different constants, creatures could evolve differently, even as combinations that here seem impossible. Some physicists speculate about communication between brains via high-energy vibrations. Abaddon might be a guardian regulating such exchanges, preventing dangerous entities from crossing over. 4.4. The dangers of unchecked technology. Some modern interpreters link Revelation 9 to technological prophecies. The description of locusts with iron breastplates and noise like chariots has been read as a pre-modern vision of helicopters or drones. In the 1950s, a preacher confronted with flying machines might have compared them to locusts. Today, we can imagine swarms of autonomous drones equipped with artificial intelligence and chemical weapons attacking populations. The parallel is not exact, but invites concern. Biotechnology and nanotechnology also allow us to imagine synthetic locusts, robotic insects that can pierce skin, inject toxins, and transmit disease. Likewise, geoengineering projects and particle accelerators could manipulate the atmosphere and space-time. Opening the shaft of the abyss might be a metaphor for colliding particles at energies high enough to form mini black holes. What if such an experiment goes wrong? 4.5. A mirror of our fears. Finally, we should remember that Revelation is apocalyptic literature. Its original purpose was to comfort persecuted communities, assuring them that evil would be judged. The imagery of destruction and punishment is cathartic and served as veiled critique of the oppressive empire. In our era, we continue to project our fears, nuclear war, climate collapse, pandemics, into end-of-the-world narratives. Hybrid locusts could represent our own inventions devouring us, or uncontrollable forces unleashed by our quest for power without ethics. The abyss could be the darkness of our collective unconscious. 5. Open questions for the audience. At this point, our journey through Revelation 9 and its mythological echoes leaves us with more questions than answers. To keep the spirit of mystery and reflection alive, here are a few questions to guide discussion. Do you think the locusts of Revelation 9 are symbolic or literal? Do they represent human armies, demonic beings, war machines, or perhaps hybrids produced by technologies beyond our understanding? What role does Abaddon Apollyon play? Is he a faithful angel executing divine judgment or a released demon sowing chaos? Does he resemble the Watchers of Enoch or the rebellious Apkallu? What do the hybrid creatures of different cultures have in common? Why do so many mythologies speak of beings with lions' heads, serpent tails, or dragon wings? Does this reflect a collective memory of genetic experiments? Or is it an archetype symbolizing transgression? Is there room for scientific theories in interpreting sacred texts? Can wormhole physics or advances in genetic engineering illuminate ancient narratives, or are we simply projecting our knowledge onto them? What does this teach us about human responsibility? If the Watchers were punished for teaching knowledge without wisdom, and if the rebellious Apkallu were imprisoned, what does that say about our relationship with science? Are we repeating patterns of transgression without considering the consequences? Are we dealing with interdimensional portals or states of consciousness? Is the abyss a physical place, a wormhole, or a symbol of the human mind? Could shamanic journeys and mystical experiences be interpreted as encounters with other realities? Might Revelation have echoes in our time? Could the description of locusts with metal armor and thunderous noise be an ancient glimpse of military or biological technology? Or are they omens of dangers we do not yet understand? What do you think about creatures emerging from pits in myths worldwide? From Tiamat's dragons to Camazotz, do they represent natural forces, literal demons, or warnings against opening doors we should not? The richness of Revelation 9 lies in its ability to inspire questions and connect stories. It challenges us to look beyond our worldview and recognize that themes like rebellion, hybridization, punishment, and vigilance have formed part of human imagination since ancient times. The story of the Angel of the Abyss invites us to explore our relationship with the unknown, with power, and with the limits we ought to respect. Conclusion. We have traveled a long way, from the strange locusts of Revelation to the fishmen of Mesopotamia, the hybrid beasts of Greece, the demons of India, and the feathered serpents of the Americas. We have also journeyed through theories of genetic engineering, vanished civilizations, and interdimensional portals. Along the way, we've seen that beneath the literal words lies a constant message: the danger of transgressing limits without responsibility, and the inevitability of judgment for those who abuse knowledge. Revelation 9 may be a symbolic vision designed to bring hope to a persecuted community, or perhaps it preserves the memory of an ancient cataclysm in which hybrid beings were loosed and then contained by a guardian angel. It could also be a prophecy of the future, when technologies we barely imagine will open gates to creatures beyond our biology. Each reader and viewer must decide how much of each possibility they accept. What we do know is that myth and science are united by human imagination. Hybrid creatures, fallen angels, and abyssal portals will continue to inspire stories as long as questions remain unanswered. Will we learn from the mistakes these tales describe? Or will we repeat the story of the Watchers and the rebellious Apkallu? That is the question we have yet to resolve. Thus ends our journey through the Angel of the Abyss. And what if the demons of Revelation are not metaphors but real beings released in an ancient cataclysm? I leave the question hanging, so that each can listen to what his or her conscience or imagination whispers.